Hello and welcome to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Ryan. I'm here with Josh, and this is our Week 6 news and injuries report. Just going through team by team, seeing who's in, who's out, and potential backups that you can put in. What is our first? What is our first team, Josh?
I think let's kind of bring up the first big news. And actually our first team is going to be Carolina Panthers because they decided to fire Matt Rhule,
That's right.
which
Yeah.
very early in season firing, but this actually does have a lot of fantasy implications regarding redraft, keeper, and dynasty.
Mhm.
The first I want to bring up is there have been a lot of rumors because the Panthers only have 9 draft picks within the next 2 years
Yep.
that there are a lot of people for sale. Now, we've heard some conflicting reports on it, but I would not be surprised if that's true. So, we already heard the rumor about CMC, which that one seemed very doubtful.
Yeah, they snuffed that
But
out pretty quick.
yeah, that one was snuffed out very quick. But there are a couple players that will make sense. Sorry. DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson are the two that makes the most sense.
And their defensive
It's
end.
Yes,
I
Brian Burns, I believe
Yeah,
is the
Brian
name.
Burns. Yeah.
Brian Burns, Derek Brown,
Yep.
a lot of their younger stars, JC Horn even, but regarding fantasy, it is very much probably the receivers that will get looked at most.
For
I
sure.
would almost assume Robbie Anderson's the first one to get traded.
Yeah.
But that is where if you dropped them already, just be prepared to depending on the team to pick him back up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, personally, I think teams will try to get DJ Moore first. So that's why I'm expecting him to get traded as well.
Yeah.
But
And just fair warning, just like with the Kenny Galladay trade, just because he was a star on one team does not mean he's going to be a star on another. So
that is very true. But
yeah.
considering how putrid the Carolina offense is, it can't get any worse.
Yeah, yeah, it can't.
Oh,
So
breaking news, Ryan, Jonathan Taylor is out.
wow. So Name
So
Hines and Jonathan Taylor are out this week.
it's Deion Jackson time.
Yikes. Yep. Started Deion Jackson. There's really no other backs for them.
Yeah,
So I
that and
would
Philip Lindsay,
upgrade. I would upgrade any defense that's going up against them this week
which
because
is Jacksonville.
which is Jacksonville. Yeah. Yeah. Without
Oh,
Name Hines and JT, they're not going to have a very productive run game. I don't think
yeah,
so. All right.
but back to
Yeah.
Carolina. I wanted to bring up a dynasty impact here with the Matt Rhule firing,
All right.
and that I'm going to talk about Matt Corral. And the reason why I want to bring
Okay.
this up is because he was already out for the year this year. The Matt Rhule firing is the best thing that's happened to him and the worst thing that's going to happen to him.
Hmm.
And part of the issue with that is because is I completely forgot the point as I'm about to say it, but pretty much the next regime has no reason to hold on
Has
to
no
him.
ties. No
Yeah,
ties.
no
Yep.
ties whatsoever. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
worst thing. And the best thing is that he doesn't play in that offense.
Yeah.
So it remains to be determined. However, the issue with Carolina the last few years is like, hey, you have a good team around you, you have no quarterback.
Yeah.
And so that's where I would almost expect Carolina to go get one of the top 5 quarterbacks in next year's draft.
That is.
If you have
Yeah,
Matt Corral,
sure.
I think you might be screwed in with dynasty
Which
implications.
I do. I have him stashed.
Ah,
So
good luck.
yeah. Yeah. I mean the best thing for him is probably being traded, you know?
Traded or cut.
Yeah.
I don't know who would go for him because he is
Mm-hmm.
hurt right now. It may have to be either an offseason trade or
Yeah.
just getting cut. Again, third round pick. There's not that much holding on to
Yeah.
him in order for him to stay.
Yeah, that's kind of a wait and see. So we'll see what happens with him either throughout this season or in this off season. So, we'll see.
Yeah, we shall
But
see. So,
is there any other news?
I think the only other news I find interesting is Cam Akers. And the reason why with
Yeah.
Cam Akers, just the whole statement with McVay was really weird, talking about we're going through some things. It sounds like Cam Akers is either getting traded or cut, even though he's out this week, and
Yeah.
it's due to personal reasons. Now, this is a lot of speculation, but this is also considering the fact that Cam Akers has just not looked good since he's come back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting to see what's going to happen. If you're a Cam Akers owner, I would suggest just kind of keep him on the bench. Obviously, he's not playing this week, but he probably wasn't playing good enough for you to continue playing him. So, but let's keep your eye out on this, because if the Rams are willing to part with Cam Akers, it means they're also in the market for a running back.
Yeah.
And so that is
That would
going
be a
to be
good
very interesting
landing
to see.
spot for CMC.
I would personally, yes,
But
if they have the trade capital to do it,
Yeah.
and getting like running back targets out of the backfield, I can totally see that.
Mm-hmm.
I can also see if they need to make a really low profile move. Kenyon Drake would be very interesting, especially in that offense. But especially with Cam Akers, keep your eyes open. Especially this is going to get interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is going to get interesting. I saw those trade rumors and I didn't believe him at first because he was kind of really hyped up uh, um, through last was it postseason when he was running
Yeah,
for them. And he was really hyped up at the end of the year last year, and then this off season, it just he died down. It's like not many people expected a whole lot of him. They expected him to split carries with Darrell Williams, and I don't know. I don't know. I have a feeling like they've lost faith in him, and that
I think
there's
so
something
too.
off the field that's hindering him. So,
Yeah,
at least in this organization. So we'll see,
especially in this
as
organization,
it
I would agree
develops.
with you.
I think he's done there. I think
Yeah,
they're done with him. So
and the Rams are
he's
not
definitely a good
afraid to
trade
cut
candidate.
bait.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to just cut and run like from anything. Like they
Mm-hmm.
did it with Goff, they did it with Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like here for us to say, oh no, they'll stick with him.
Yeah. Well, like with CMC, he's a franchise player in Carolina. Like they don't want to get rid of him, but
Yeah,
they're so desperate right now for draft picks and for talent that they might just do it. If somebody offers them, it's kind of like that whole
if someone
we're not
offers
willing to get if we're not willing to give him up unless somebody offers a lot, like a great price, like they can't refuse.
It would have to be an offer they can't refuse.
Offer they can't refuse. Yeah. So
Yeah.
is that it for news?
Yeah, that's basically it for news. So,
all right.
What we're going to do right now is we're actually going to go through each team and tell you kind of the big injury news for each team and tell you how either you should hold on, pivot, or kind of what to do here. So the first, we're just going to go alphabetical order to start with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the big deal with Arizona, all your running backs are out minus Eno Benjamin. So if you haven't picked up Eno Benjamin, please pick him up.
He's
because
a streaming candidate this week.
Yep, very much a streaming candidate. James Conner and Darrell Williams are both out versus Seattle. Seattle has just been a very, very, very enticing defense for fantasy.
Yep.
So Eno Benjamin, who has been able to produce, so I say this could be a very good day for him.
Yeah, for sure. for sure. Um, I think that's it for Arizona. It was really
Yeah.
just James Conner as the fantasy.
Yep.
As
It was
yeah,
basically.
that's it.
Yep.
Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons. Kyle Pitts, who has been very disappointing this year, is listed as questionable with a hamstring injury. He was limited all this week. I don't see him playing. He might, but I
Yeah.
don't. I
They're
don't
saying
see him
they're
playing.
saying well, even that, I mean, the latest report that I have is that he is expected
Yeah,
to play, but even then, you're going up against San Francisco.
yeah, and I don't. I'm down on him right now. I think he has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I definitely think so too.
But for the price that I paid, the price that I paid for him, it's hard. It's hard to keep him in my lineup with how he's
It's very
produced.
hard right now. And again, this is something I think Ethan and I will scream from the rooftops.
Mm-hmm.
Is just wait till Desmond Ritter gets in. I do think his outlook changes for the better with Desmond
Yeah,
Ritter.
I believe
And
so
that's
too.
Yeah, going on to the Baltimore Ravens now. Right now, Rashad Bateman already confirmed out. So if you have Devin Duvernay, please go stash him,
Yes,
or not
Duvernay.
even stash him, play him.
Heck yes.
And besides that, that is really the big. Actually, there is one thing I want to bring up. Gus Edwards has been practicing for the
The
Ravens.
Gus
Now, if you
Bus.
the Gus bus. So if you have followed kind of what they did with J.K. Dobbins, expect the same thing with Gus
Yeah.
Edwards. So now, where does this put Gus Edwards? Well, this puts Gus Edwards to have a ramp up, to be fully ramped up when fantasy playoffs start. So if you need an RB2, just really desperate about it, and this will work especially in standard leagues, stash and pick up Gus Edwards now. He could be your saving grace by the end of the year.
See, my question for that is, will how will they use him in tandem with J.K. Dobbins? That's a big question
So
for me
it will
as
be
a Dobbins owner.
so 2020 it was Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Now they did kind of just run the ball like there's no tomorrow that year, and I think this year you'll probably get a little bit more balance. But both backs can catch the ball out of the backfield
Mm-hmm.
very well. I think that can be a good part of the offense later, especially later on in the year. The issue is that the running backs have just for lack minus Justice Hill has been just really bad.
Yeah.
And that's been the problem is like even if they catch the ball, it's a 3-yard loss because the running backs can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I am still both very high. I'm very high on both. With the addition of Ronnie Stanley basically coming back into the fold, like that O line's going to get fixed, and they're going to be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, see that's good. I'm very hopeful for J.K. Dobbins to be a big fantasy producer this year, especially because in one of my
Yeah,
leagues, I had Javonte Williams and he went out, and my backup was J.K. Dobbins. So I'm hoping that he performs this year. That's it for the Ravens. We've got the Buffalo Bills. We had Stephon Diggs as a DNP on Friday, but they were just resting him as a vet day. Um, Other than that, Dawson Knox was limited all week, but he carries no designation into the game. So more than likely he'll play. And we also got Isaiah McKenzie, who was out with a concussion. Um,
full participant the
he,
last few
yeah, he's been
days
a full
though.
participant all throughout the week and carries no designation into the game. So he's going to be fine. Other than that, it's pretty much non fantasy relevant players and defensive uh, players. So, yeah, we can probably just move on to the next one.
Yeah, so Carolina Panthers. Really, the only maybe fear was CMC, but it was just rest for him.
Mhm.
DJ Moore had a shoulder, but he's been a full participant the last few days,
Yeah.
so he should be good to go. Either way, I think the only person you're playing out of this is CMC, so
Yeah. And
that's about it.
well, and Baker Mayfield was a DNP. He's all week. He's doubtful.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, most likely he is not playing, so expect Sam
yeah,
Darnold.
expect Sam Darnold, which Sam Darnold did well the first couple of weeks. When he had CMC in the game, he did well last year. So we'll see what this
Yeah.
new regime does with him, and if Sam Darnold, because I've heard reports that Sam Darnold has been nipping at Baker Mayfield's heels in practice. So
Hmm.
he may, with Baker on the sidelines, he may take over that number one role if he does well this week. Of course, it's against LA, so I mean, I'm not too hopeful.
Good
But
luck.
yeah, but other than that, yeah, they're that's it. You got the Bears, no real fantasy relevant players. N'Keal Harry, he was
Yep.
a limited on Tuesday and full on Wednesday. Carries no designation, so he should be good.
And they also played already, so we have to kind of take a
That's
look
true.
at
Yeah, yeah.
uh Justin Fields looked pretty banged up afterwards,
He
but
did.
he should be fine.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll look into that a little bit next week and see how he does after having a week off, because I think they play on Monday next week, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
they play New England.
they play on Monday, so he's got quite a few days to rest up, get some practices in next week before he plays. Let's go on with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep, Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah,
Your big issue is going to be T Higgins,
yeah,
and he was a DMP on Wednesday, Thursday, but on Friday he was limited. Now, if he's a full participant on Saturday, he's playing.
yeah,
But if he's not a full participant on Saturday, he's not playing.
yeah.
So that's one to be very aware of. And Hayden Hurst was a full participant on Friday. Most likely
Mhm.
he is playing.
Yeah, I'm not too hopeful with T Higgins. With the DMP on Wednesday and Thursday, and he was limited yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
does not
I'm
look
not
good.
hopeful. They may have him on the snap count if they put him in. So just be aware of that. But they're going up against a pretty banged up New Orleans secondary. So I I don't know if they'll end up playing it. All right.
Yep.
We
Our
can go
next
ahead.
team is
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Cleveland. We've got Mari Cooper. He was DMP on Wednesday. They were just resting him, so he should be good for the game. Other than that, it's really just no fantasy relevant players. So Cleveland Browns are pretty darn healthy on the
I will
offense.
say slightly fantasy relevant, but also not fantasy relevant at the same time. Denzel Ward has been a
Yeah,
DNP this
whole
entire
week.
week. He's been already listed as
Yeah,
out against New England. So that means like a Jacoby
yeah.
Myers or
Makes them a little
a lot of
more
the receiving options
tempting.
makes it a little more
Yeah,
a little more enticing. Next, we also got the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm really not seeing anything here that's noteworthy. CeeDee Lamb was a DMP on Friday
that's
due to,
concerning to me.
yeah. So he didn't have any injury designation until
Yeah,
Friday. Is that right?
yeah. No designation until
So,
Friday, and then all of a sudden he has this hip injury. So I'm
yeah. So,
yeah, I'm a little worried about it, but
well, yeah, I'm a little worried about that
I
too.
think he'll be fine. I'm gonna keep an eye on him,
He
but
is the Sunday night
yeah,
game. Here's a little tip for everybody. If you have a player on Sunday night, make sure you have a backup plan or a pivot
yeah,
option for Sunday
or
night
Monday, or Monday.
or Monday.
Yeah, if you have a player playing on Sunday night in that game, or a player playing on Monday, reserve them, because if CD shows up on Sunday and goes, "No, I'm not playing," then you're kind of screwed because you won't have anybody in. Everybody else has played, and you'll be up Craps Creek without a paddle. So That's all we got
Yep.
for. We've also got Dalton Schultz. Dalton
Dalton
Schultz.
Schultz, he was a full
Yeah.
participant on Friday, so I'm
Mhm.
assuming he's
I'm
playing.
I'm hope
Now
hoping so.
so the last one I want to bring up is Dak.
Yeah.
With how they're playing right now, they're gonna wait till Dak's
Yeah.
100%. So if you're holding out for Dak and you need to hold out longer, you gotta do what you gotta
Yep.
do. But if he was already like your second QB or anything like that, I would consider just dropping him and trying to get him back later on.
Yeah.
Um, but it looks like the Cowboys are content with letting Cooper Rush run things until Dak's 100%.
Mhm. So the Denver Broncos, what's going on with them? I've got to look at
So
them because it doesn't.
there is not a lot of info that we have right now. I think it's really just going to be the running backs.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon was limited with neck and ribs, so he has
Mhm.
multiple injuries going on right now. Latavius Murray had a wrist. He has, of course. So and Mike Boone was limited with a foot injury. So out of all of these people, Latavius Murray was the only guy that was a full participant. So we'll see what happens there. On top of that, Russell Wilson did have the right shoulder issue that they're saying he's looking a lot better.
That's good.
At the moment. So, but that is something to just like kind of keep your eye on.
Yeah, and we'll try to keep you guys updated on it. Especially with Russell Wilson, him. Yeah, he's kind of the heart and soul of that offense. So
Yeah, and the soul's dying.
And the soul is dying. Yes, very slowly. So our next team, Green Bay Packers. Really, we've just got Aaron Rodgers. Was a DMP on Wednesday because of a right thumb issue. But he was a full participant Thursday and Friday, carries no designation. He should be fine. Christian Watson, on the other hand, DNP all week and is officially out.
Would you drop Christian Watson?
Potentially, with how
I think we're getting to that point.
With how Romeo Doubs has done over the last couple of weeks and how he's kind of solidified his number 2 position in that offense. I would drop Watson.
I would drop Watson too.
Except in maybe dynasty leagues. Hold on to him until this offseason.
Dynasty is the only one I would say hold out for longer. But if you're in a redraft or keeper league, I think it's safe to drop.
I would have dropped Watson weeks ago, just with how Dobbs has done, and it's just there's no room in that depth chart for him. So
as of right now.
All right. So what's our next one?
Indianapolis Colts. So we talked about this a little bit. That JT and Nyheim Hines are out. So that means it's Deion Jackson time. Besides that, I mean, you have to be kind of happy that both Ryan Kelly and Quentin Nelson are playing. It looks like they were both full participants on Friday. Shaquille Leonard is still out.
Yeah, and so is Kwity Paye.
So that's where things get very interesting on the Jacksonville side.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, that is our next team.
Yeah. So on this side, we've got Zay Jones and Marvin Jones, really the only two who are fantasy relevant. They've been limited. Zay Jones was limited all week and carries a questionable designation, and Marvin Jones was just limited on Friday, so he's a late addition.
Late addition. Zay Jones has been dealing with the ankle injury for 2+ weeks now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. Zay Jones showed up and showed out over the last couple of weeks, and and then 2 weeks ago he got that ankle injury, and he hasn't really done a whole lot. So
it's been a lot of injuries plus a lot of turnovers on the offensive side of the ball, which has made things very difficult.
And if you're in a dynasty format, hold on to Zay Jones because he saw a lot of work, and there's a lot of analysts and commentators that are saying that, Zay Jones, this could be the emergence of Zay Jones, of him actually
Yeah,
being fantasy relevant.
I would even say in redraft and keeper, keep him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has run more routes than Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
He just hasn't gotten necessarily the opportunity, and that's the only reason his fantasy points have been low. And now, like, so if he's on waivers, which I'm probably betting most likely he's on waivers, stash him.
Yeah, do it. Our next one, Kansas City. Yeah, take it away.
So Juju looks like is playing full participant the last few days. Sky Moore is going to look like he's playing. Travis Kelce looks like he's playing. This game has been circled on it since the offseason. So unless they had a major injury, almost every fantasy relevant person is playing in this game.
Yes. And Harrison Butker, I think it's safe to put him back in. He's been out the last, I think it was 2 weeks with an injury. So he's had 2 full practices. He carries no designation. I think he's rested up. He's ready to go. So go ahead and put him in definitely for this game. Yeah. Everybody else is pretty much full participants. They're all good. LA Chargers. Keenan Allen was limited this week. And we just saw an update today, Josh. Didn't you receive that?
Yes. Saw the update basically saying he is doubtful. He's aiming for a week 7 return.
Okay.
I'm happy they're telling us this now. Don't play the waiting game.
Yeah.
Just pivot off of Keenan Allen this week. Yes, it may screw with like getting a win or a loss this week, but it's okay. I'd rather have Keenan Allen at 100%, winning the rest of the weeks for you as a fantasy manager.
Yeah.
Than trying to like struggle it out this week.
Yeah, and extending his injury. If he strains himself, he strains himself while trying to rest up and have become fully healthy. If he goes out and plays before he's ready, that can extend the injury multiple weeks. So,
and that would mess you up even more.
Yeah, it'll mess everybody up. So, yeah, that's it for the Chargers. We got the Rams up.
Really,
we got Cam Akers.
So this is out. Cam Akers obviously out, but this is where it gets interesting. Cooper Kupp was a DNP on Wednesday, which is looking like it was a vet day or a rest day. Limited Thursday and Friday, carrying a questionable mark.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting. And this has been the one thing I've been worried about with this Rams offense is, are we going to feed Cooper Kupp so much that he breaks down? And there is a legitimate possibility of that.
Yeah.
My guess is that if you're a Cooper Kupp owner, it's going to be an interesting week. So I would say try and go and find players to put in your lineup where it's a like boom or bust kind of scenario.
Yeah, I would do it. Okay, our next team.
Good luck.
Miami Dolphins. They're playing Minnesota. And honestly, as a Minnesota fan, I'm excited because they are kind of limping through the last couple of weeks. And they haven't looked good. We got Bridgewater, who is questionable. He was a full participant on Friday, but they are using him as a backup role, and they're going to.
So Skylar Thompson is starting.
Skylar Thompson will be starting. Raheem Mostert was limited on Friday, DMP on Wednesday and Thursday. I believe he's going to be playing. Durham Smythe. He's
limited as well. Wouldn't be surprised if he's playing.
Tua is out. He's hoping to come back next week. And then
he did get cleared from concussion protocol today.
And Waddle is clear, fully healthy, and carries no designation. So
on to the Minnesota Vikings. Really, the big one I would say is Alexander Madison shoulder. I guess just like Dalvin Cook, shoulder issues. He's
Yeah.
been limited all week, but would not be surprised that he's playing.
Yeah. Yeah. And even then he'll just be a backup in a backup role. Um, so I don't expect any major fantasy points from him.
Yeah.
New England Patriots, a lot of questionable tags coming into this game. Nelson Aguilar, struggling with a hamstring injury, limited all week, has a questionable tag. Let's see, Damian Harris, he's listed as questionable, but will not play. They've already put out a press statement saying that he's going to be rested at least 2 weeks. So I would not expect him to play. He's been limited all this week.
If you're looking for a long shot, because you're just that screwed at the running back position, Pierre Strong does become an interesting option now.
Yeah, he's the next up in line. So Mac Jones, limited, questionable. Jacoby Myers, limited, questionable. Jonnu Smith, limited, questionable. I mean, most of their team was questionable and limited all week. So just keep an eye on it, especially game time. Do you know when they're playing, Josh?
They are, I believe, they're one of the afternoon.
They're one of the afternoon games,
and I can double check that.
So just keep an eye on that because it'll be interesting.
No, they're an early game.
They're an early game. Okay.
Yep.
Good. So make sure you have backups for any one of those players. I know Jacoby Myers is big, especially for Mac Jones. If they both play, he's his favorite target. So hold on to both of them. Be prepared to replace them. So New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans. So Jameis Winston limited all week, and we said the reason why Jameis Winston is so important because if he's playing, then Taysom Hill kind of take him out of your lineup. Yep. But if it's Red Rifle, you're gonna put in Taysom Hill. So he's been limited. That's going to be very interesting. Michael Thomas already listed as out.
Actually, Jameis Winston, I just saw a report that he is out.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
It is Taysom Hill season, everybody.
Yeah.
So Michael Thomas is also out for this game. Chris Olave was a full participant on Friday, cleared with concussion protocol. I almost said percussion protocol. But he's listed as questionable. I would not be surprised if New Orleans just kind of held him out a little bit just because it is so recent. So that one just be aware of.
Yeah. Definitely be aware of that. And the ever injured Michael Thomas is out.
Yep.
As always.
As always.
And I do also want to point out Marshawn Lattimore is out. So
I totally missed that.
That could be a boon for
Jamar
Chase this week. For those of you like me who have really been disappointed in his fantasy output these last couple of weeks, pretty much since week 1. This could be his game. This could be a good game for him. So keep him in your lineup. I mean, you always keep him in your lineup, but still.
Yeah.
So next up, we've got New York Giants.
New York.
Kenny Golladay out. We've got
Kadarius
Toney out, of course. Wan'Dale Robinson is questionable. He was limited this week. So I don't.
If he
go ahead,
he might be playing. He might be
playing. I don't see him playing. They're probably going to keep him out another week because he was limited all week this week.
Yeah, would not be surprised if they do that. I'm also would not be surprised if he plays this week. I would just keep him out of your lineup, just see what he does.
For sure. the next one we got New York Jets. There's no
New
fantasy
York
relevant
Jets.
players.
Yep,
So if you want to go
no
on
fantasy relevant.
to
Let's
Philly,
go to Philly. So Philly, AJ Brown was resting. He's going to be good to go. Actually, Jason Kelsey was a full participant. That's about it. Oh, Kenny Gainwell also had rib
yeah,
injury, but he's been a full participant, so he will most likely be playing.
yeah,
Again, I don't expect any surprise inactives for this game, but if there are, it is the Sunday night
mhm.
game. Please have a pivot option in place.
Yes, for sure have a pivot option. Um, okay,
Pittsburgh Steelers.
good old Berg. A lot of people out this week. A lot. Mainly
Oh boy.
defensive.
Oh,
Pat,
their entire
yeah,
secondary.
the only fantasy relevant player. Well, two fantasy relevant players that are on this injury report. Deontay Johnson was limited on Wednesday, but had two full participations on Thursday and Friday. Carries no designation. The other is the Muth. Pat Fryermuth was limited all week this week, was just declared out. So do not put him in. Keep him out. Find
Yeah.
somebody else because he is not going to get you any points this week.
Yep. And we talked about the secondary very briefly, but I just want to bring up Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Cameron Sutton, Levi Wallace, and Akella Witherspoon are all out against Tampa. So start Evans, start Brady, start Godwin.
Start Brady.
And I would even Fournette, like expect very good weeks out of all.
Expect a very big game. So
San Francisco is the let's see. Nothing as far as fantasy relevant. Tyrion Davis Price was a full participant this week, so it looks like he'll be playing. Jeff Wilson also has a shoulder issue, but full participant as well. Trent Williams has already been listed as out, but that's kind of just been the go-to as far as the last couple weeks. So I'm not sweating that whatsoever.
And that is pretty much it for them. They're a fairly healthy group on offense. Seattle Seahawks. There's not a whole lot. We've got Marquise Goodwin. He was a full participant. Still carries the DNP or still carries the questionable tag coming in. Kenneth Walker is on the injury report, but he was a full participant all week. So I don't see him missing any time. Rashad Penny, obviously not participant.
He was placed on just placed on IR. Mm-hmm. So and the long-term IR. Yeah. So unfortunately he is out for the year. He's
out for the year officially. But that's it for the Seattle Seahawks. So
nice. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cameron Brate has been a full participant this week, so I maybe stash Cade Otton if he ever takes the starting spot.
Is that his official pronunciation, Otton?
I am assuming.
I thought it was Oton, but Otton.
Okay,
that works.
We're gonna have to get our best guys to figure that out.
Which is us.
Let's see. Yeah, because we have no one else.
We have no one else.
So Russell Gage, full participant on Friday. It looks like he's playing. Mike Evans just had a rest day. Yep. Let's see. Chris Godwin, full participant on Friday. Julio Jones has been a DNP all week. Most likely not playing. He has a doubtful tag.
Yeah, I don't see him.
Rashad Perriman has been a full participant all week, so it looks like he's playing.
Gotcha.
And I would say if you have Julio Jones, it might be time to just.
Yeah.
I think you're going to need that roster spot more than Julio Jones.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I already dropped Julio in one of my leagues. I believe I picked up George Pickens in that league for Julio Jones. So I swapped him out. I know. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody picked him up. It's a throwaway redraft league. So,
yeah. And the last team we have, they've already played.
Yeah.
So you probably know a lot of these. Obviously, Diamond Brown, Jahan Dotson, Logan Thomas. Well, the big one is Carson Wentz now. I am seeing a report via Sleeper that he did fracture his finger on his throwing hand.
See, I thought
He's
he
headed
just
to
jammed it.
Nope, it's a
Oh,
fracture. So he's
yikes.
headed to Los Angeles to see a hand specialist to determine the next step. His availability, can I talk, is up in the air. So here's what this means. Taylor Heinecke is the next guy up. As far as different play styles, we shall see, because it's Washington, and based on how they played Thursday, I have no idea what that game plan was.
Yeah, and
So
we'll see, because they may lean on the
yeah,
run a
we
little
shall.
more with Heineken.
And Brian Robinson did end the game with 17 carries. Now,
Yeah,
it didn't look very good because, well, I have some issues with it, but I would not be surprised to see Brian Robinson get more work.
Well, and I've seen reports that the head coach wants to see more of Gibson. So
Then why did you? I give up.
maybe
up.
it's the OC. Maybe it's the OC that wants to see Robinson in there. So
I give up.
yeah, yeah. The ever rotating door of Antonio Gibson. He's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. He's, it's frustrating, for
It is very
for whoever
frustrating.
owns him. It's like 1 week he's the favored one, and he's like the godsend, and he's doing everything, and then the next week he's like, no, you're in the doghouse. Sorry, we're gonna show this rookie. We're gonna give this rookie some time. So,
and they were putting him on special teams to where it's like, okay, wow, he's really down there.
Yeah. When that report came out that he was going to be on special teams, I was like, ooh, he's done. And then this report came out saying that the head coach wants to see more of him out on the field. So I don't know. I don't know what to think.
Make it make sense.
Yeah. I don't know what to think of him. If you want to take the roller coaster ride that is ownership of Antonio Gibson, do it. But fair warning, it's an emotional roller coaster having to be there.
It is, because poor Ethan and I have been on this one.
Yeah. And I have him in 2 of my leagues. I'm ready to give him up.
Oh boy.
I'm ready to give him up.
You're just done.
Yeah, I'm done. So that is it for our news and injuries. Is there anything else, Josh?
Nope, no? Nothing has popped up since.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. Make sure that you like and subscribe this YouTube channel, and follow us on all of our social media pages at Last Place FP. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just get on there and like and follow us. So, yeah.
Yep. So our next episode is going to be our week 6 review. We're going to basically tell you who is kind of leading within our dream lineups competition.
It's going to be
and I think I took enough swings to at least make this interesting. But thank you again to Ryan. This has been our week 6 news and injuries, and we will see y'all soon. Next time, like tomorrow, something like that.